Father, Lord of mercy and grace, the creator of the heavens and the earth, the sea and the fountains of waters, we come before your throne of grace, the immortal God, one that is wise above all. We pray, dear God, that you're going to be with us, and we pray that you help us to understand your word as we will be learning at the feet of Christ. We ask that you open our hearts and our eyes that we may see the things that are about to happen before us and that we may prepare for them. God, we pray that you strengthen us and that may your Holy Spirit protect us from all the things that might distract us. May your Holy Spirit be with us and also help me as I'll be used as a vessel. May you speak through me, dear God, and also teach me. In the wonderful name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen. We'll be focusing on evangelism, and the topic of us today is the mark of the beast and his image. So, is there anyone who's talking? The voice? Oh, okay. Today we'll be focusing on the mark of the beast and his image. So we'll go to our Bibles, to the book of Revelation, chapter 14. From verse 9 until verse 11, it says, "And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment shall ascend up forever and ever, and they have no rest, day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receive the mark of his name." So, as we were going through the present truth of this time, the message that affects us, the generation who are living in this time, we get to find out that there's a warning that comes to us in the third angel's message. We'll be looking at the first angel's message and the second, and yesterday we did a study of who is the beast. So today we are going to focus on his mark and his image. So the Bible here warns us who are the dwellers of this earth. In verse 6 it says, "And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people." So this message or this gospel is covering everyone who dwells on earth, whether you are a Chinese or an African, whosoever dwells on earth, whether you speak Swahili, Hindu, Venda, Sepedi, this message is coming to you. And God says in the third angel's message that whosoever is going to worship the beast and receive his mark and worship his image is going to be tormented, as we have read before. So we'll be looking now firstly on the mark of the beast. So before we go to the mark of the beast, we know who the beast is, right? The study that we have done yesterday has established for us who the beast is. Anyone to say who the beast is? Who is the beast? Before we can know what is his mark. Kunda? The papacy. The Roman papacy, right? That is the man of sin that we have established yesterday, that he is the beast. So then now, what is this mark of the beast? Then there's this quotation from Great Controversy 445.3 It says, after the warning against the worship of the beast and his image, the prophecy declares, here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. And then it continues to say, since those who keep God's commandments are thus placed in contrast with those that worship the beast and his image and receive his mark, it follows that the keeping of God's law on the one hand and its violation on the other will make the distinction between the worshippers of God and the worshippers of the beast. So this warning, after the warning comes now, the Bible reveals those who are keeping the commandments of God and having the faith of Jesus. So it says, since those who are keeping the commandments of God are thus placed in contrast with those who worship the beast, then here is going to be a distinction between the worshippers of God and the worshippers of the beast. Is it understood? This warning, after it proclaims, God now shows his people that are going to be faithful and not receive or worship the beast. So between them and God's people, there's a distinction between who is worshiping who, right? Yes. So now we are going to look at the characteristics of a true mark or a true sign or a true seal. When we check here, is it visible? Yes. So the true sign or a true mark, since we are talking about the mark of the beast and his image, so we are first looking on the mark. It says the true mark or the true sign should have the name, the title, and the territory, right? Those are the marks of the President of the United States. It says that one, other one is from Barack Obama. It says the 44th President of the United States of America. So the name is who? Barack Obama. The title, the President. And then the territory is the United States. And so it's like that with the one of Donald Trump. So we are going to be looking at the mark of the beast in contrast with the mark of God. Because if God is warning us not to receive the mark of the beast, it means he wants us to receive his mark, right? Yes. So when we go to Exodus, which is the 4th commandment, it says that remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. Then it says, for in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested on the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. So in this 4th commandment, we can see clearly that the Lord is the one who created the heavens and the earth. So we are going now to check God's seal or his mark in contrast with what we were checking, to say or in harmony with what we were discussing, that the true sign should have the name and the title and the territory, right? So it says that God's seal, it contains the name, which is the Lord your God, in the commandment that we have read. And then it says the title is our creator, is the one who created the heavens and the earth. And then he is reigning or ruling heaven and earth, right? As we have seen that the sign or the seal, it has to have the name, the title, and the territory. And the name is the one who reigns. The title is the city he occupies, and the territory where he reigns. So we are going now to look at the mark or the seal of God before we can go to the mark of the beast. We should know first what God wants us to do then we look at what we are not supposed to do. It says there that in the book Exodus 31 verse 13, somebody to read for me.
Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbath ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you.
So in this verse we are told that what is the sign of God? The Sabbath. So it says, you shall verily shall keep my Sabbath. Why? For it is the sign between me and you throughout all your generations, that ye may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you. So the Sabbath is a sign of God. Amen? And then it continues also in Ezekiel. It says there, 20 verse 12. It says, moreover also I gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am the Lord that sanctified them. So the Sabbath is a sign of God between him and his people. So if you want to be the child of God, if you want to be recognized as one who is sanctified by God, it means you should be keeping what? The Sabbath. And then it says, verse 20, and hallow my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that ye may know that I am the Lord your God. So verse 12 says that they may know that I am the Lord that sanctified them. So the Sabbath as a sign sanctifies us as God has sanctified it. So it means when you keep the Sabbath, you are sanctified, and God sanctifies you as he is the one who sanctified the day. Then here it says that we may know that the Lord is our God. So to prove that we know that the God of heaven is our God is when we keep the sign, or when we have the sign, which is the Sabbath, which is a sign between us and God. Is it understood, right?
Amen.
Then, in Signs of the Times, March 22, 1910, paragraph 4, it says that the Sabbath of the fourth commandment is the seal of the living God. What is the seal of God? The Sabbath. And then it points to God as the creator, as we have already seen that God is the creator, and then he rested on the Sabbath. It says it points to God as the creator, and the sign of his rightful authority over the beings he has made. So it says it points to God as the creator and is a sign, the Sabbath, of his rightful authority over the beings that he has made. So it is a rightful sign of authority. So God is having authority over us, and it means we are supposed to be under him. By what? By keeping the Sabbath. It means when we keep the Sabbath, we are obedient to his authority. Amen. Amen. Then it says, when it continues, it says, those who obey this law will bear the seal of God. For he has set apart this day as a sign of loyalty between himself and his people. So this is just a continuation to say, those who keep the commandment, the fourth commandment of the law, which is the Sabbath, they receive the mark, or it's set up, upon them the sign of loyalty between God and themselves. So this sign, okay, let's continue. It continues to say, to Moses on Mount Sinai, he said, speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, verily my Sabbath ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout all your generations, that ye may know that I'm the Lord that doth sanctify you. So this quotation is just adding or stamping on what we have read from the Bible, that the Sabbath is the sign of God. What is it, Charity? The Sabbath is what?
The sign
Between?
between us and them.
Yes, you should not sleep now. It says, and then where is this seal or sign going to be? Where is this seal or sign going to be? Because we are told in Revelation that those who receive the mark of the beast and his image in their forehead or in their hand shall suffer consequences. So we want to see now, where is the sign of God going to be? Or is it a visible sign that we can see? Is it having a sign to show that I am going to this church, then I belong to God because I attend church, and I'm putting this sign that people can see to show that I am part of a certain religion. Let's see. It says in Revelation 7, verse 2, and I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. The seal is what? A sign. The seal is a mark. So seal and a mark and a sign is one and the same thing when it is used here in the Bible. It says, and I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels, to whom it was given them to head the earth and the sea. And then it said, saying, this angel, hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, which till we have sealed the servants of our God in their forehead. So this mark or this seal or this sign is going to be in the forehead. Is it clear, this verse? Yes. Let's move. And then Ezekiel also says that, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads. Then the verse that we read earlier, it says the seal. So the seal and the mark is going to be placed on the forehead, the seal of God, right? Of the men that sigh and cry for the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So here there's even specific people that are going to receive this mark. Those that are going to be sighing and crying for all the abominations that are done in the midst of it. So it means if we are going to be allowing or not sighing or crying because of the abominations, or partnering with the abominations, or in some way advocating for them, this seal or this mark will not receive, because it says that it's going to be received by them that are going to be sighing and crying in the midst of Jerusalem. Yes.
On Revelation 7, I don't know if the sign on the forehead is a literal or symbolic.
Okay, we'll address that. We're still coming. We still want to know, where is it going to be? Is it going to, where is God going to place this sign? So we are told in Revelation 7 that it's going to be on our foreheads. So we will see also if it's a visible sign, a literal sign that you can see, or what is it? Yeah. So and then there is your answer. It says in Maranatha, page 200, paragraph 2, that just as soon as the people of God are sealed in their foreheads, where again are we going to be sealed? In our foreheads, right? It says this, but it says it is not any seal or mark that can be seen, right? So no one is going to see this mark. So if you are having a sign or a mark that is visible and that you call the sign of your church, you are putting it on your clothes, or wherever, and you claim that to be the sign of God. It is not the sign of God, because the sign of God says that it is not a literal sign that you can see. So it says it is a sign that is not going to be seen. So God is having a sign, which is the Sabbath. And then it says, but it is a settling into truth, both intellectually and spiritually, so that they cannot be moved. So it's only a settling into truth, both intellectually and spiritually. What is the reason why we should settle into truth? That we may not be moved, because God is warning us that there is going to be another sign that will come and will be enforced on people. So if you are grounded in truth, you will not be moved by any wind of doctrine or anything that might come your way. So it says that, and this sign is going to be on the people of God. It is going to be settling into truth. So if you are cherishing any error, it means you won't receive this sign. If you are still believing what is not written in the Bible, it means you are not going to receive the seal. It is going to only be received by the children of God that will be settling into truth, which is the true Sabbath of God, which is the sign. So, and this Sabbath, which we are told that it is the sign of God, it's going to be a test, or it is already a test. God, even in the past, has used this Sabbath as a test. So once the truth comes to you, if you were not knowing that which day is the Sabbath, and you reject it, it means it's going to show clearly who you are worshiping, because we are told that it's either you receive the sign of, or the seal or the mark of God, or you receive the mark of the beast. So it says there that Sabbath is going to be as a test. Evangelism 2:26.1. Someone to read for me.
I am instructed to say, gather from the scriptures the proofs that God has sanctified the seventh day, and let these proofs be read before the congregation. Let those who have not heard the truth be shown that all who turn aside from a plain, thus saith the Lord, must suffer the result of their cause.
So it says that we must gather all the proofs that God has sanctified the seventh day. And let these proofs be read before the congregation. Let those who have not heard this truth be shown that all who turn aside from the plain that said the Lord must suffer the result of their cause. So we are told that we should gather all proofs that God has sanctified the seventh day, so that these things can be read even before the congregation, that not even one will say, I did not know. But it says that even those who are going to hear this truth, but they will not, they will turn aside, or they will reject this truth, they are going to suffer. So God presents to us the light, and when we choose to follow the darkness that we were in, God is not going to have mercy on us. It says in all congregations, in all ages, the Sabbath has been a test of loyalty. In all ages, the Sabbath has been the test of loyalty to God. So God has been using this Sabbath as a test since in the past, right? Because it says in all ages it has been a test of loyalty to God. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever, the Lord declares. So as we know that as Seventh-day Adventists, we are the spiritual Israel. We should also And we know that when God says this is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever, it does not only mean the children of Israel that lived in the past, because God is living his people in each and every generation. So today, as we are the spiritual Israelites, God is calling us to be aware not to receive the mark of the beast. It says that in all ages it has been the test of loyalty to God. And then let's see an example of what God has used with the children of Israel as a test. This it's in Deuteronomy 8 from 2 to 3. It says, "And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart, whether thou would keep his commandments or no. And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God doth man live." So we know that in the book of Exodus 16, God rained manna as he wanted to reveal to the children of Israel to test them on the Sabbath. And he said in how many days should they pick the manna? In 6 days. And that you should not go on the 7th day, because it will not be there. So those who went there, did they find any manna? They did not find any manna on the Sabbath. Then God comes again to say that for how long will ye keep on breaking my commandments? So in Deuteronomy, it just shows us that when God was leading his people 40 years in the wilderness to humble them and to suffer them to hunger, it was to know what was in their hearts, whether they will keep his commandments or no. Who knows this song? Yes, can we just sing it a bit so that others can wake up? It says, "And thou shalt remember the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart, whether thou would keep his commandments or no. And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger, fed thee with manna which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord." Amen. So this was how God was proving or testing them through the Sabbath, to say, I'm going to give you food in 6 days, and when you come on the 7th day, you will not find that food. So those who were obedient to God's law did not even bother to go out, because they knew that on the 6th day you have to gather twice as much, even for the 7th day. Amen. So even today, the Sabbath is still going to be used as a test for his people. It says that the Sabbath of the 4th commandment is the test for this time. Which time? This time. And God says it was also used throughout all ages. So it is still going to continue even this time. This is going to be a test to prove that will you keep the commandments of God or no. And it says, and all that is connected with these great memorials is to be kept before the people. So it simply shows that if you are going to keep this 4th commandment, which is the Sabbath of the Lord, which is which day? Saturday, right? It's Saturday, which is the Sabbath of the Lord, the seventh day of the week. Is there any question? No, right? Let's move. And then we are going to check now those who receive this mark of God, what is going to happen to them, or those who will receive this mark of God. It says, and I saw, this is John say, I saw thrones and they that sat upon them, and the judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. So these are they who did not receive the mark of the beast, but they received what? The seal or the mark of God. So they were reigning. John saw them reigning or sitting on the throne with Jesus Christ and doing what? The judgment. And the judgment was given to them. So, and some of them are those who were beheaded for this truth that they received of God. So now, as we have seen that the mark of God is the Sabbath, which is Saturday, we are going now to check in contrast with this mark, what is the mark of the beast, and even ask the beast, which is the papacy, that what is your mark, because he is claiming to have authority over all the people, kindred, tongue, and people, right? So it says there that the mark of, or the seal, or the sign of the beast. Then we read this verse which says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark. So it means this mark has to be received. It means you can choose not to receive it, right? So it says in his forehead or in his hand. So this mark of the beast is going to be received also on the forehead or on the hand. So this, we know that the seal of God is received on the forehead, which is settling into truth both. Are you sick, guys? It says those who receive the mark of the beast and his image. They what will happen to them? The same people that will receive that which God is warning us, they will drink of the wine of the wrath of God. Who can stand before the wrath of God?
No.
So it means if we do not want to see this wrath of God, we are supposed not to receive the mark of the beast, right? What are we supposed to receive? The mark of God. So this wrath of God is going to be poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. Who has ever seen God angry? Or who wishes to see God angry? It is going to be a terrible time, right? It is going to be a terrible time, and we don't wish to see this day. We don't wish to wait to say, no, now I will continue and see what that will be. God already told us how the situation is going to be. So a wise and a very reasoning person will see that I do not have to receive this thing, because God also even shows me that if I receive this, it is going to be a very, very terrible time for me when it's going to visit this earth because of the iniquity that is going to take place. It says, he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So this person is going to go to hell. You see that? The one who receives the mark of the beast. We already saw that those who receive the mark of God are going to be reigning with Christ. Where? In heaven. So it means if you are going to worship the mark of the beast and receive it, your place is already destined where you are going. And if you receive the mark of God, you are also knowing where you are going to. Yeah? It says, and the smoke of their torment ascend up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receive the mark of his name. Then Revelation 13 now says now that, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the earth. So those who are going to worship the beast, their names are not even going to be on the book of life of the Lamb. And then they are not going to be found written in the book of life. Those who receive the mark of the beast. You see that name? And then this one also adds. So God is repeating this thing time and again. It says, and whosoever was not found in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. So this person is going to burn in hell, who received the mark of the beast. So the question will be, for me not to receive this mark, what is it, this mark, that I may not receive it? Then it says, what is the mark of the beast? It says, the Sabbath will be the great test of loyalty, for it is the point of truth especially controverted. Is it true? Yes. So, it says, when the final test shall be brought to bear upon men. When the final test shall be brought to bear upon men, then the line of distinction will be drawn between those who serve God and those who serve Him not. We read this type of quotation before, that those who are going to, the Sabbath is a test and it is going to be used to prove whether you are a true worshipper of God or not. So, and it is going to be when the final test shall be brought to bear upon men. So we'll see when this final test is, right? It says, when it continues, that while the observance of the false Sabbath in compliance with the law of the state, contrary to the fourth commandment, will be a avowal of allegiance to a power that is in opposition to God, the keeping of the true Sabbath in obedience to God's law is an evidence of loyalty to God. So if we keep the true Sabbath, we are loyal to God. Then when it continues, it says, while one class, by accepting the sign of submission to earthly powers, receive the mark of the beast, the other, choosing the token of allegiance to authority, receive the seal of God. So these two things are always in contrast with one another. You see them? It's either you receive the mark of the beast or the mark of God or the seal of God. So whatever you are doing today, you are preparing whether to receive the mark of God or to receive the mark of the beast. However you are living your life, when God says this is the truth and you reject it, will you even be able to reject this mark that is going to be enforced? When now God is presenting the truth and you choose to reject it. So we are supposed to work out our own salvation, looking forward to what? To the receiving of the seal of God. And that we should be aware. This is the message that comes to those who are living today, right? That you should not receive the mark of the beast, but rather choose to receive the seal of God. And then Roman Catholics acknowledge that the change of the Sabbath was made by their church, and declare that Protestants, by observing the Sunday, are recognizing her power. So by observing the Sabbath of the fourth commandment, you are recognizing the power of God. And here it says Roman Catholics acknowledge that they are the one which changed the Sabbath. It's the church. They are the ones who changed the Sabbath, right? And they declare that whosoever is observing Sunday is recognizing her power. Let's continue. In the Catholic Catechism, the Christian religion Okay, in Catholic Catechism of Christian Religion, in answer to a question as to the day to be observed in obedience to the fourth commandment, the statement is made. So this is what they are responding, right? The Roman Catholics who claimed or who changed the Sabbath of the Lord. They are saying during the old law, Saturday, during the old law, it means they are saying that this law is an old law that you don't even have to remember or to keep anymore, right? In the old law, Saturday was a day sanctified, but the church, instructed by Jesus and directed by the Spirit of God, has substituted Sunday for Saturday. So now we sanctify the first, not the seventh day. So Sunday means and now is the day of the Lord. This is what Roman Catholics is saying. It's saying that the law of old, it means now you don't even have to worry about that law. They claim that it is Christ who instructed them, and it is the Spirit of God which led them or directed them to substitute this day from Sunday to Saturday. So it says they now sanctify the first instead of the second. Think not that I am come to change the laws and the prophets, but that I am come to fulfill them. And a man even comes to Christ. What can I do to be saved? He says, keep the commandments. Christ even says that if you love me, keep my commandments. And the fourth commandment is the Sabbath of the fourth. The fourth commandment is saying that we should observe and remember the true Sabbath, which shows that we have forgotten this law. So we need to go back to this law. If we were observing this Sunday, which was changed by a man, which God never gave them authority to do so. And then it says, as the sign of the authority of the Catholic Church, Papist rights cite the very act of changing the Sabbath into Sunday, which Protestants allow of, because by keeping Sunday they acknowledge the church's power to ordain feasts and to command them under sin. Let me read it again. It says, as the sign of the authority of the Catholic Church, the Papist writers cite the very act of changing the Sabbath into Sunday, which Protestants allow of, because by keeping Sunday they acknowledge the church's power to ordain feasts and to command them under sin. So it is a sin to worship on Saturday, on Sunday, right? It says that as they allow this change of the true Sabbath, which is Saturday, into Sunday, they are what? Commanded under sin. It is found in their book there. And it says, what then is the change of the Sabbath but a sign or mark or authority of the Roman Catholic, the mark of the beast? So it says that when this change of the Sabbath was performed, it shows that the Roman Catholic Church claimed to have authority above God, because it is the authority that it is Sabbath, it is the authority of God, and those who obey that day are under the authority of God. So if you come and change God's law, it means you are saying you have authority above God, right? And it says that this is their letter from C.F. Thomas, the Chancellor of Cardinal Gibbons, on October. It says, of course, the Catholic Church claims that the change was her act, and the act is a mark of her ecclesiastical power and authority in religious matters. So this church claims to be having authority in religious matters. they do not acknowledge the authority of Christ. They do not acknowledge the authority of God, though they claim to do so. But it says that because they have changed the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday, it means that is their mark. It says, and the act is a mark of her ecclesiastical power. That's what they are saying, right? It says, when we continue, that the change in Evangelism 234.1, the change of Sabbath is the sign or the mark of the authority of Romish Church. It's clear, right? The fact that they changed the Sabbath, it means that the day that they now observe, as we know that the Sabbath is the true sign of God, it means now that they changed that sign and they are claiming that it is their mark, it means Sunday is the mark or the sign of the Roman Catholics. It says, those who understand the claims of the fourth commandment, those who understanding the claims of the fourth commandment choose to observe the fourth Sabbath in the place of the truth, are thereby paying homage to that power by which alone it is commanded. The mark of the beast is the papal Sabbath, which has been accepted by the world in the place of the day of God's appointment. Clear, right? It says that because they have changed this Sabbath, it is now their mark of authority. They are having a mark. You remember God says, if you receive the mark of the beast, and the beast we are told that it is the Roman papacy. Now, because he changed the day of God, it says it is the mark of the beast is the papal Sabbath, which is Sunday, because they changed the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. And then it says the mark of the papal Sabbath has been accepted by the world in the place of the day of God's appointment. And you see that all the churches are worshiping on Sunday. So it shows indeed that this papal Sabbath, which is Sunday, which the Bible does not recognize, the world has accepted it. Hence God comes now and says, do not worship the beast, nor receive his mark, for you shall suffer the consequences. Then in the question box of the Catholic Universe Bulletin, it says the Catholic Church changed the observance of the Sabbath to Sunday by right of the true divine infallible authority given to her by her founder, Jesus Christ. And it says the Protestant claiming the Bible to be the only guide of faith has no warrant for observing Sunday. That's true, right? If you are claiming that the Bible should be your only guide of faith, it means you will not even observe Sunday, because you will search the scriptures and realize that Sunday is not the fourth commandment which God commands us to keep. It says in this matter, the Seventh-day Adventist is the only consistent Protestant. So they know, these people, you see, they even know that if you are claiming to believe in the Bible, then you should be a Seventh-day Adventist, because the Seventh-day Adventists are the only consistent Protestant. So if you are saying you are a Protestant and you still worship on Sunday, you are a false Protestant. So you should study the scriptures and realize that it was Rome, the papacy, which changed the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. Then you will be a true Protestant. It continues to say in their books that Sabbath is our mark. What is the mark of the beast? Sunday. Excuse me, not Sabbath. Sunday is our mark of authority. the church is above the Bible. This transference of Sabbath observance is proof of that fact. So they are even claiming to be above God's word, that they can change the word of God the way they wish. So they are saying Sunday is their mark. Understood? What is the mark of God? Which is Saturday. Rome comes and claims authority even over the Bible and change the law of God and says that Sunday is their mark. Now, when God gives this message to this last generation, which goes to each and everyone across the world, He is warning us that do not receive. If any man receive or worship the beast, he shall suffer the consequences and receive his mark. So now we know that the mark of the beast is Sunday, as the beast is proclaiming and professing. And God says, do not receive. So we want to understand now, when will this mark be received? Okay, let's continue. When will it be received? The mark of the beast. It says, but Christians of past generation observed the Sunday, supposing that in so doing they were keeping the Bible Sabbath. And they are now true Christians in every church, not excepting the Roman Catholic Communion, who honestly believe that Sunday is the Sabbath of divine appointment. There are those who this truth have never came to them, right? And they are keeping Sunday in sincerity of saying that it is the Sabbath indeed of the divine appointment. Hence God is saying this message should reach each and every person, that they will be aware that the Sabbath is being changed. Now it continues and says God accepts their sincerity, right? Even in the past, there are those who kept Sunday, whom the light has never come to them, that Sabbath is not Sunday. Now God says God accepts their sincerity of purpose and their integrity before Him. But when Sunday observance shall be enforced by law, this is when National Sunday Law is going to be passed, right? When Sunday observance shall be enforced by law, and the world shall be enlightened concerning the obligation of the true Sabbath, then whoever shall transgress the command of God to obey a precept which has no higher authority than that of Rome will thereby honor popery over God. So, the mark of the beast is going to be fully received when the National Sunday Law is going to be enforced. Is right? Yes. It says, when the Sunday observance shall be enforced by law, then whosoever shall still continue to transgress God's law and keep Sunday will then receive the mark of the beast. He is paying homage to Rome and to the power which enforces the institution ordained by Rome. He is worshipping the beast and his image. As men then reject the institution which God has declared to be the sign of his authority and honor in its stead that which Rome has chosen as the token of his supremacy, they will thereby accept the sign of allegiance to Rome, which sign is the mark of the beast. Is it understood? Yes. So, in the book Great Controversy 449.1, it says, it continues to say, and it is not until the issue is thus plainly set before the people that they are brought to choose between the commandments of God and the commandments of men, that those who continue in transgression will receive the mark of the beast. So, the mark of the beast will be fully received when now everyone knows which day is the true Sabbath, and they still continue to observe Sunday of the false Sabbath. Then they will receive the mark of the beast. Amen? No one has yet received the mark of the beast. It's understood, right? Because no one has the light of the true Sabbath. Hence, God is calling people to go out there and preach the gospel, that everyone will receive the truth, that they will, if they were keeping Sunday in sincerity of not knowing really which day is the true Sabbath, and this is going to be brought as a test, then they will know that they are not supposed to receive this. It says no one has yet received the mark of the beast. The testing time has not yet come. There are true Christians in every church, not accepting the Roman Catholic communion. None are condemned until they have heard the light and have seen the obligation of the fourth commandment. It's what we have read, right? So none is yet condemned until they have received the light. So it means if now the light is coming to you, that Sunday is not the true Sabbath, and you keep on transgressing God's law, do you think you will be able to escape this mark? God is saying that when the light comes to you, you should receive it. If you do not receive it, then you will not be able to refuse that which is error in the future. So when the light comes to you, you are supposed to take it and live by that saith the Lord. So it says that, but when the decree shall go forth enforcing the counterfeit Sabbath, which is Sunday, and the loud cry of the third angel shall warn men against the worship of the beast and his image, the line will be clearly drawn between the false and the true. Then those who still continue in transgression will receive the mark of the beast. It's clear, right? When the mark of the beast shall be enforced, and when the loud cry shall will go forth to warn people not to worship the mark of the beast, it means those who continue in their transgression will receive the mark of the beast. Then Evangelism 2:35.1 says, with rapid steps we are approaching this period. With rapid, what is rapid? Fast. Yeah? With fast steps or rapid steps, we are approaching this period when the Protestant churches shall unite with secular power to sustain a false religion, for opposing which their ancestors endured the fiercest persecution. Then will the Papal Sabbath be enforced by the combined authority of the church and the state. There will be a national apostasy which will end only in national ruin. So, when the Protestant churches shall unite with the secular power, then the Papal Sabbath shall be enforced, right? And this combination of the church and state will enforce or cause people to receive or to receive the mark of the beast and to worship the image. Then it continues to say, if the light of truth has been presented to you, revealing the Sabbath of the fourth commandment and showing that there's no foundation in the Word of God for Sunday observance, and yet you still cling to the false Sabbath and refuse to keep the holy Sabbath, which God calls my holy day, you receive the mark of the beast. Is it clear? If the light has been presented to you, revealing that the Sabbath of the fourth, revealing the Sabbath of the fourth commandment, and showing that there is no foundation in the scripture that shows that Sunday should be observed, and you still cling to that which is false, then you receive the mark of the beast. Then it says, when does this take place? When you obey the decree that commands you to cease from labor on Sunday and worship God. So this is going to happen during what? The mark, when the national Sunday law shall pass. And you had the light, and you still continue in the era that you have been cherishing. It says you receive the mark of the beast. While you know that there is not a word in the Bible showing Sunday to be other than a common working day, you consent to receive the mark of the beast, and you refuse the seal of God. Review and errors. So it simply clearly shows that this mark of the beast will be fully received when the national Sunday law shall be passed. Ne? No one has yet received the mark of the beast, but it is going to be received when the national Sunday law shall be passed, according to what we have read. Is it clear? So, but those who have now the light of the fourth commandment, and they think that they can go back to worship on the wrong Sabbath, they are preparing themselves to receive it, to receive this mark. So we want to understand, how do you prepare yourself to receive the mark of the beast? And those who are now having the light of the Sabbath, and yet they are not keeping it, it shows how they are going to constantly prepare to receive that mark. It says, how do you prepare to receive the mark of the beast? The time is not far distant when the test will come to every soul. Which test is this? The Sabbath. The observance of the fourth Sabbath will be urged upon us, upon everyone, right? So it is going to be urged upon us to observe or to worship on Sunday. Then it says the contest will be between the commandments of God and the commandments of men. So that will be the contest of the that is going to take place. That this Sabbath should be observed. This fourth Sabbath should be observed. And God is saying what? Observe not that Sabbath. So it's going to be a contest between the commandments of God and the commandments of men, which we know that Sunday is a commandment from the Roman Catholic, which is not found in the scriptures, which is in contrary with the law of the fourth commandment, which is the Sabbath of the Lord. Those who step by step have yielded to worldly demands and conformed to worldly customs will then yield to the powers that be. So you see that you prepare to receive the mark of the beast by yielding step by step to worldly demands. Right? When they say you should come to work on the Sabbath, and you go to work on the Sabbath. When they say come to write a test on the Sabbath, and you go and write on the Sabbath, and say God will understand. So you are yielding step by step to worldly demands, isn't it? And you are preparing to receive the mark of the beast. And it continues, those who step by step have yielded to worldly demands and conform to worldly customs will then yield to the powers that be. So now is the what? The preparation, either to receive the seal of God or to receive the mark of the beast. So if you are yielding step by step to worldly demands and worldly customs, it means you're going to surely receive the mark of the beast. You're going to receive the mark of the beast. It says they are going to yield to the powers that be, rather than subject themselves to derision, insult, and threatened imprisonment and death, because you have not prepared for this time that comes. So you will not allow, or you will not endure these derisions and this insult that will be coming to you, and this imprisonment that those who are going to refuse to worship on Sunday are going to go through, because you have yielded step by step and have not prepared to escape this mark. It says, at this time the gold will be separated from dross. The true godliness will be clearly distinguished from their appearance and tinsel. So this is the time when our true godliness will be clearly distinguished. It continues to say, many a star that we have admired for its brilliance will then go out in darkness. So even those that we have admired, saying that admiring them for their brilliance, will also go out in darkness because of what? Yielding step by step to worldly demands and not preparing for the mark of the beast. It says those who assumed the ornaments, those who have assumed the ornaments of the sanctuary but are not clothed with Christ's righteousness will then appear in the shame of their nakedness. So, many a star that we have admired, it means there are even those that we have admired that will receive the mark, and that we are supposed to be clothed with what? Christ's righteousness, that our nakedness shall not appear.
Yeah.
So it continues to say that then how can we avoid this mark of the beast? If God now has shown us that this mark of the beast is Sunday worship that we are not supposed to receive, how then can we avoid receiving it? Or what shall we do to avoid the reception of the mark? Then it says the great decision now to be made by everyone is whether he will receive the mark of the beast and his image, or the seal of God, of the living God, of the living and true God. So it is a choice, you see, that it's whether it's either you receive the mark of the beast and his image, or you receive the seal of God. And now, when we are on the very borders of eternal world, what can be of so much value to us than to be found loyal and true to the God of heaven? So we are supposed to be found true to the God of heaven, as God has laid plainly everything in his scriptures, that there is going to be a beast. Then he will enforce the mark and the image. So do not receive such things. So it is going to be a choice between whether you receive the mark or you receive the seal of God. And it's going to be determined by how now you prepare. So you are supposed to avoid this mark of the beast. It says, what is there that should be, what is there that we should prize above his truth and his law? What is so necessary as a knowledge of what said the scriptures? And then is refraining from work on Sabbath, on Sunday, receiving the mark. Is refraining from work on Sunday, receiving the mark of the beast. When you refrain from working on Sunday, are you receiving the mark of the beast? Okay? So, here it says refraining from work on Sunday is not receiving the mark of the beast. Yeah? It says after the Sabbath has been sacredly observed, in places where the opposition is so strong, as to arouse persecution if work is done on Sunday. That's clear, right? After the Sabbath, in places where there is opposition so strong as to arouse persecution if work is done on Sunday, then let our brethren make that day an occasion to do genuine missionary work. So if the mark of the beast is going to be enforced, or even if it's about to be passed, and the, working on Sunday is so strong that it can even arouse persecution, we are not supposed to work that will arouse persecution, but instead God says that we can do what? Genuine missionary work, house to house work, like the way we are doing on Sundays. You can use that day to do missionary work. You can refrain from working on the Sunday, but you work for God as what? A missionary, going door to door, spreading the gospel and showing that this thing of resting on Sunday is not even biblical. So it says, let them visit the sick and the poor, ministering to their wants, and they will find favorable opportunities to open the scriptures to individuals and to families. Thus, most profitable work can be done for the master, you see. So it says, when those who hear and see the light on the Sabbath take their stand upon the truth to keep God's holy day, difficulties will arise, for efforts will be brought to bear against them, to compel men and women to transgress the law of God. So when you go out and do missionary work on Sunday, it is a work that heaven approves and would want us to do it on this Sunday in order to avoid arising unnecessary what? Persecutions. And then it says that when you do that, those who will receive this light will stand on the truth, and they will receive this truth and keep the holy day of God. But there are going to be difficulties that will arise, for efforts will be brought to bear against them to compel men and women to transgress the law of God. So these are the times that we should be ready for, that we should be preparing now beforehand, that we should know that it is going to be compelled. It is not going to be easy these days. It is not going to be the way we are thinking, or the way we are not even comprehending how it is going to be. We are not, yes, the way we are not even getting it, how this is going to be. So we are supposed to be faithful to the light that God has given us today, that we will be even faithful in later times or in difficult times. So in Spalding and Madden 2:2.4, it says, okay, it is continuing from what we have read. It says, here they must stand firm, that they will not violate the law of God. As the transgression of the law of God is going to be compelled upon people, it says we must stand firm. Isn't it we sing, "Firmly stand on"? That song, yes. So we should sing it with understanding that indeed one day we are supposed to do that. We should firmly stand on the rock when this opposition to transgress the law of God comes upon us. We are to avoid, we are to stand firm that we will not violate the law of God. And we should be asking God to strengthen us, like the way He did with the former pioneers and the former patriarchs and prophets. So it says that it is and if the opposition and persecution is determinately kept up, let them heed the words of Christ. When they persecute you in one city, flee into another. For verily I say unto you, you shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man be come. So when they persecute you in this city, then you run to another city. as we have been reading in the book of Acts, right? We now understand how these things are going to be done. To say when we read it there, these things are going to take place. There are the things that will also come upon us who are living in this time. So God is admonishing us that when they persecute you in this city, do not say, no, this is not what I was expecting, and you leave the faith, but you should run to another city. And it says that history will repeat itself. What has happened in the past, it will happen even today. History will be repeated. False religion will be exalted. The first day of the week, a common working day, possessing no sanctity whatever, will be set up as was the image at Babylon. You remember the image at Babylon? It will be set as was set the image in Babylon. And those who are not going to bow down or to receive this false religion that will be exalted are going to be treated the same as how the Hebrew boys were treated. History will repeat. All nations and tongues and people will be commanded to worship this spurious Sabbath, which is Sunday. This is Satan's plan to make of no account the day instituted by God and given to the world as a memorial of creation. So he even wants to crush in our minds that there's a God who exists, who created. So he wants to substitute and remove the thoughts of God in our minds as he is introducing or enforcing this spurious Sabbath upon us. It is God, is the plan of the devil to do that. So we have seen that there is the mark of God, which is Sabbath, Saturday. There is the mark of the beast, which is the spurious Sabbath, Sunday. So it is for us to hearken unto the words of God when he says, do not receive this mark. That we should run away or shun anything connected or anything that will step by step yield us to receive this mark. And we have realized that this mark has not yet been received. It is still going to be fully received when the Sunday law will be enforced. So if you know the fourth commandment and you do not keep it, you will surely receive the mark of the beast. So the Bible in Revelation 14 says, if any man worship the beast and his image. So now we want to check what is the image of the beast, right? Because God wants us not to worship the beast and his image and receive his mark. So as we have seen that this mark is Sunday, so now we want to check what is this image of the beast that we are warned not to worship. We are going to go to the image of the beast. And we'll turn our Bibles to Revelation 13. Someone to read from verse 11.
And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Yes.
And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, and to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and the image of the beast should both speak, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
So in Revelation 13, we are told that there is another beast which is going to come up out from the earth. So yesterday we were looking at the beast which is coming up out of the sea, and we have realized that this beast is the papacy, and it says that this beast that is going to come up out of the earth is going to exercise the power of the first beast, and it had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. So we want to understand who is the second beast. Who is this second beast? This is Great Controversy 440 paragraph 1. It says, but the second beast with the lamb-like horns was seen coming up out of the earth. Instead of overthrowing other powers to establish itself, the nation thus represented must arise in territory previously unoccupied. So, isn't it the first beast is coming up out of the sea, which is a place occupied or populated, right? So this beast which is coming up out of the earth is coming from where there is no population or where there is no one dwelling, right? It establishes itself. Okay, it says, instead of overthrowing the powers to establish itself, the nation thus represented must arise in territory previously unoccupied and grow up gradually and peacefully. And then it could not then arise among the crowded and struggling nations of the old world, that tumult sea of the peoples and their multitudes and the nations and tongues. It must be sought in the western continent. So this beast is not coming up out of multitudes, nations, tongues, in simple terms, where the place is not occupied, right? So it continues to say in Great Controversy 440.2 that when what the nation of the new world, what nation of the new world was in 1798 rising into power, giving promise of strength and greatness and attracting the attention of the world. The application of the symbol admits of no question one nation, only one, meets the specification of this prophecy. It points unmistakably to the United States of America. So the beast which is coming up out of the earth, having 2 horns like a lamb and speaking as a dragon, is none other than United States of America, according to the prophecy and the inspiration that we are given. So in verse 12 it says, he exerciseth all power of the first beast and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image of the beast. So we want to check this image that this beast is saying to those that dwell on the earth that they should make it. We want to understand what is that image, since we have established or recognized that this beast of Revelation 13 verse 11 is what? The United States of America. So it says that what is the image of the beast and how is it formed? So it's answering 2 questions, right? What is the image of the beast and how is it going to be formed? In Great Controversy 443.1 it says, but what is the image of the beast and how is it to be formed? The image is made by the 2-horned beast and is an image to the beast. It is also called an image of the beast. Then to learn what the image is like and how is to be formed, we must study the what? the characteristics of the beast itself, the papacy. Yesterday we studied about the characteristics of the papacy, right? What are they? The characteristics of the papacy. They were how many? 13, right? What are they? The characters. So it means if you want to know how this image is like, or how is it going to be formed, you must understand the characteristics of the papacy. Once you understand the characteristics of the papacy, then you will understand how the image of the beast is going to be formed. And what is this image?
Persecutes the saints of God.
It's going to persecute the saints of the Most High. The other one,
Rules within a densely populated area of cultural diversity.
yes, the other one,
Things to change time with the laws.
it thinks to change times and laws. It controls the nations and the others, right? Yes. So it means the image of the beast, when it is formed, is just a reflection of what had happened in the past, right? An image is just a reflection. Isn't it? If you take yourself a picture, it's going to reflect you. So, to learn what is the image, or what is the image going to be like, and how it's going to be formed, then the characteristics are necessary, they're important. Then if you know the characteristics, you're going to know how is the image going to be. It is going to be the reflection of what? The original. Then it says, when the early church became corrupted by departing from the simplicity of the gospel and accepting heathen rites and customs, she lost the spirit and the power of God. Right? It became corrupted from departing from the simplicity of the gospel and accepting heathen rites and customs. Then she lost the spirit and the power of God. And in order now to control the conscience of the people, she sought the support of the secular power. Understood, right? So, the early church was a pure church of God, you remember. Then by it accepting the hidden rites, it became corrupted. And then it lost the power of God. And it sought now to want to control the conscience of the people, and it could not do that without the support of the secular power. So for it to control the conscience of the people, it sought secular power also to be involved. And it says the result was what? The papacy. So when the state and the church unite, the result is what? The papacy. It resulted in the papacy when the church involved the secular power to enter or to unite or to align with it. It resulted in the papacy. And a church that controlled the power of the state and employed it to further her ends, especially for the punishment of heresy, as they will call it, the truth heresy. So it says that the result of the papacy, for the church seeking the secular power resulted in the papacy, and a church that controlled the power of the state and employed it. So it means the state was employed by the church to accomplish her ends, né? And then so that even the punishment of those that are called heresy, those that are keeping the true principles of God, can result. So this is what had happened in the past, right? So it means in order for the United States to form an image of the beast, the religious power must so control the civil power that the authority of the state will also be employed by the church to accomplish the ends. So exactly as it was done in the past, it is going to be done even today in the future. That as they are uniting, now as we are seeing them uniting, they are forming what? the image or the reflection of what had happened in the past, the image of the beast, of what the first beast has done. Yeah? So it says that as this United States is going to form the image of the beast, the religious power must so control the civil government, as it was even in the days of Christ, right? So it continues to say in great controversy, it was apostasy that led the church, the early church, to seek the aid of the civil government. And this prepared the way for the development of the papacy, the beast. Said Paul, there shall come a falling away, and that man of sin be revealed. So by it apostatizing, falling away, then the man of sin was revealed. So it says, so apostasy in the church will prepare the way for the image of the beast. Is it talking about the church of God? It says it was apostasy that led the early church to seek the aid of the civil government. Right? So, and that prepared the way for the development of the papacy, which is the beast. So it says, so apostasy in the church will prepare the way for the image of the beast. So we want to check which church is this, or which churches are these that are going to, that have apostatized, that will also want to seek the civil power in order to control the conscience of the people. Then it says, when the leading churches of the United States, uniting upon such points of doctrine as are held by them in common, shall influence the state to enforce her decrees and to sustain their institutions, then the Protestant America will have formed an image of the Roman hierarchy. You see? So it is going to be the leading apostate churches of false Protestants of the United States that are going to, they will unite in such points of doctrines as are held by them in common. What are they? The doctrines that are held by the leading churches of the United States.
The immortality of the soul.
The immortality of the soul, right? Okay, let me just read this quotation, which shows that it's in Great Controversy 588.1. It says, through the two great errors, the immortality of the soul and Sunday sacredness, Satan will bring the people under his deceptions. While the former lays the foundation of spiritualism, the latter creates a bound of sympathy with Rome. The Protestants of the United States will be the foremost in stretching their hands across the gulf to grasp the hand of spiritualism. So they will reach over the abyss to clasp the hands with the Roman power. Then it continues like that. So it just shows that there are only two great errors that are held by the churches or the churches of the United States. So as they are going to be uniting in such points of doctrine, they shall influence the state to enforce their decrees and to sustain their institutions. Then Protestant America will have formed the image of the Romish hierarchy, and the infliction of civil penalties upon dissenters, which are those that are not going to agree with them, will inevitably result. So as this churches are going to unite in one point of doctrine, and they shall influence the state, also employ the state to accomplish their ends, then that is when the image of the beast is formed. Is there any question or any confusion or any clarity that is needed? The what? Oh, the one I read.
Yes.
Oh, Great Controversy 588.1. It continues to say, the image of the beast represents that form of apostate Protestantism which will be developed when Protestant churches shall seek the aid of the civil power for the enforcement of their dogmas. It's clear, this one, right? The image of the beast is going to be formed by apostate Protestantism, which will it represents the form of the apostate Protestantism, which will be developed when the Protestant churches shall seek the aid of the civil power. So when the church seeks the aid of the civil power, it would have formed the image of the beast, as Rome did in the past. It sought the civil power in order that it may accomplish its ends or its dogmas. Then the prophecy of Revelation 13, this is the conclusion. The prophecy of Revelation 13 declares that the power represented by the beast with lamp-like horns shall cause the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the papacy, and they're symbolized by the beast like unto a leopard. The first beast, right? The beast with two horns is also to say to them that dwell on the earth that they should make the image of the beast. And furthermore, it is to command all, both small and great, rich and poor, to receive the mark of the beast. It has been shown that the United States is the power represented by the beast with the lamp-like horns, as we have established, and that this prophecy will be fulfilled when the United States shall enforce Sunday observance, which Rome claims as the special acknowledgement of her supremacy. But in this homage, to the papacy, the United States will not be alone. The influence of Rome in the countries that once acknowledged her dominion is still far from being destroyed. And prophecy foretells a restoration of her power. I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all wondered after the beast. And then continues to say, the infliction of the deadly wound points to the downfall of the papacy in 1798. After this, says the prophet, his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Paul states plainly that the man of sin will continue until the second advent in 2 Thessalonians. Then it says, it's in Daughters of DD is what? Darkness before dawn. Yes. To the very close of time, he will carry forward the work of deception. And the Revelator declares, also referring to the papacy, all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life. In both the old and the new world, the papacy will receive homage in the honor paid to the Sunday institution that rests solely upon the authority of the Roman Church. So this was just wrapping up of on what we were talking about. Say the image, the beast with two horns, which is United States of America, is saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make the image of the beast, which we know that it is the what? When churches of the United States, you are going to seek the power and unite with the civil power. The image is formed. And what else is represented by the church and the state coming together? The wound, which we are told is what is healed. Remember when it was when the beast received the deadly wound is when the church and the state separated. So now when they come together again, the wound is going to be healed, the image is going to be formed, then the mark of the beast will be enforced. Right? That's how it's going to be. It is the conclusion. This quotation is just wrapping up everything that we have talked about with regards to the image of the beast. So when God says, do not receive the image of the beast, do not worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in the forehead or in his right hand, it simply says that we should not worship the papacy, and we should not unite or be found consenting to or allowing what the church and the state is going to do, which is as a result will pass the mark of the beast to be enforced. So when these two things comes together, that's when the image of the beast is formed, and the deadly wound that was once the beast received is going to be filled. Then the Sunday law will be passed. I don't know if that's clear. Is there any question?
Okay, I want to understand that I need to say we shall enforce Sunday observance. So I want to understand if Sunday observance is forcing people to go to church on Sunday, or forcing people to not work on Sunday, hence we can do missionary work on the Sunday.
What you're saying is not one thing.
I need to, if like they're saying that you must observe Sunday, like no one is supposed to, anyone can choose what you want to do on Sunday, but you are not going to work or shopping, driving around, or is it going to be every Sunday you want to see you at which church, is it like a force of you going to church, or there's no light on the ground?
It says, I don't know if maybe Sunday observance, it means you have to observe Sunday as we are observing Sabbath. Then you should be observing Sunday. You are forced to go. Then you are forced to observe Sunday. The United States will enforce Sunday observance.
I understand the statement, but I'm saying force in what sense? Like force into going to church. Is it a force of everyone must go to church? Then if you don't go, that means you are,
or force of not waking. Is that how is it force of going to church, or force of
force
resting?
of not waking? I need to, I'll stay home.
Yes.
Okay, Shab, I won't work. Isn't it? I'll do my missionary work and go to do.
Anyone?
Because I'm trying to see where the persecution will come in. Because I feel like if it's me staying at home and not work at Kisha, it's not a transnational. But if I'm now forced to go to church on Sunday, or I feel like tough now.
Anyone can answer that?
I can't remember where the exact place is. I'll have to look at my reference notes. But I do remember in history, there's such a law had been passed in a European country before. I forgot, it's not Constantine, I forgot who it was. But how it was passed, in the cities they were all forced to observe Sunday, right? And it said except in rural areas, in agricultural areas, where it might affect the produce. So I don't know if that helps. It should be something similar to that. In rural areas, it won't necessarily be as forced as in urban areas.
She wants to understand that Sunday observance? Is it forcing someone to worship on Sunday, or is it just forcing someone to refrain from work? Right?
Yes, except in rural areas.
Which one? Which one she needs to? She wants to
You are
understand.
forced to go,
To church.
yes, except in. But I'll have to double check it. I'll get the reference.
Which one? Sunday.
Oh, I was saying they're going to be forcing us to worship on a Sunday.
Yes.
That means no Sabbath worship. You must be working on a Sabbath. So you'll be forced to observe Sunday. You'll be forced to go to church on a Sunday. It will be a law of the country. It won't be something that you choose to do. It will be a law. Like when you steal, you go to prison. When you break that law, there will be consequences.
I think when she first starting to explain the question, I thought she was asking it based on the question that you read there, which was showing is it the saving mark of the beast when someone is not working on Sunday? Is a quotation like that. And if we check that quotation, how it came, people were inquiring based on what he's saying. He said, because now we are forced to keep the Sunday, to observe Sunday holy, it was around the time where the mark of the beast was being enforced. Then even the law of Sunday law, then those people inquired to Ellen White. Then she said, no, you can still use Sunday as a way of what doing medical missionary. Not necessarily to say when you are forced to say you have to do the one to work this and that. Then she says this, if you take that Sunday, instead of doing the way the world wants you to do it, but you can take that time and do medical missionary, then she says that is acceptable to God. So that's where now maybe I think the question is coming from. Unless if I understand, do not understand the heading.
So Revelation 14 verse 9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast.
Is it clear? I think because I think we are not really answering what actually will be written during that time.
I wanted to say something. Let me just comment. I thought she's studying. That's what I just said. But what I wanted to comment on was on the base of the stages of Sunday law. Because there's a time where you cannot even go and do missionary work. People will be going to prison. People will be killed. So you need to put that quotation in its proper place to say what stage of Sunday law is that quotation. Because first remember that people are told that Sunday is day of what? Families. It has not yet included Sunday observance, enforcement itself. It has to say it's for what? Climate change and families and all that. Then you need to know that quotation, does it apply when people are forced and they say if you are not at church you are going to be killed, or it's during the time when people are told that we need to honor Sunday for climate change reasons and for family to reduce the morals that are being degraded. You see that? So remember that when you look at the story of Daniel chapter 3, before they were put into the fires, they were first told just to kneel. So it has those stages that it first becomes. It doesn't start as a persecution as we're starting in the book of Acts, isn't it? They were not first killed. First they were scourged and laughed at and say these people are drunk, until it moves to people where they are being killed. So I think that quotation that says you should do missionary work, we need to find its proper place to say when, because you cannot say you are going to do missionary work when you are in prison.
Right, apply during persecution. It doesn't apply during persecution. That one. But on your answer, it's even there in the book of, in the third angel's message. It says, the third angel followed, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship. So worship is you are forced to go and worship on Sunday. It's not about staying at home and not working. It's a worship. They need that worship. So you have to go to church in order to worship.
The other thing is, during those stages of Sunday law, because of the calamities that we see here on earth, people are going to say we must return back to God. And the returning back to God means what? We have all seen. So there's going to be a religious revival. You understand? It's a religious revival. We must go back to God. And then it means we must go back and worship now. When? On Sunday. So you don't say, now I think on Sabbath, those things, it is going to be enforced. That Sunday observance. We are going to have that kind of because and even before you can still receive the mark of the beast, isn't it? By avoiding persecution, and then you yield to the law. So we need to be very clear what really goes on.
Any other question?
What about those like us who are working on Saturday? On Sunday?
The same as that one questions. You'll be forced to rest, and resting by going to a church and worship on Sunday. So if it's not clear, you can go and study further, right? We all have our Bibles and Scriptures of Prophecy. If you have other questions that we have in mind, which were not clearly put forth, you can still all go and inquire from God, right? Yes, that is allowed. That is allowed. Everything is so, in absentia of any questions, we can close, right? Let's all kneel and pray.